This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the political battles over elections and voting. Democrats accusing Republicans of restricting access to the polls. Republicans saying Democrats are pushing for a power grab. The international fight for freedom of religion for everyone.
We're really headed, I think, for this showdown, a clash of civilizations, if you will, if we don't start guaranteeing people's right to religious freedom.
The attempts to protect the right to worship, even as people around the world are persecuted for their faith. In Israel, an amazing archaeological discovery from the time of the biblical judges in the Old Testament. And an early look at our intimate Studio 5 conversation with music legend Amy Grant as she marks a major milestone in her music career.
You know, life was full of possibility at that point. You know, already everything that had happened to me in music was way far beyond what I had dreamed.
Have that interview with the famous Christian singer and more, all ahead today on CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with a political battle over election reform and voting rights heating up across the country. More than 50 Democrats in Texas recently fled their state in an effort to block passage of a new election law there. This comes as President Biden urges Congress to take action on a Democratic voting bill. But Republicans call that measure a Democratic power grab. Charlene Aaron is on this story.
President Biden is slamming GOP lawmakers over their ongoing effort to enact laws tightening voting procedures across the country, calling the move un-American. Speaking in Philadelphia Tuesday, the president accused Republicans of trying to silence democracy and suppress the vote.
The denial of full and free and fair elections is the most un-American thing that any of us can imagine, the most undemocratic, the most unpatriotic, and sadly, not unprecedented.
17 mostly GOP-led states have enacted such measures. Republicans say the laws are needed for greater election security following the 2020 presidential election. Democrats contend they're designed to deter minorities from voting.
21st century Jim Crow assault is real. It's unrelenting. And we're going to challenge it vigorously.
Overnight in Texas, the state Senate passed their version of a voting bill. It calls for a ban on 24-hour polling locations and drive-through voting. In a desperate move to stop the bill, more than 50 Democrats from the Texas House fled the state for the nation's capital Monday, claiming the bill would make it harder for minorities to vote.
I'm not up here to take a vacation in Washington, D.C. When I look at the African American Museum, I thought about the struggle of my people fought in this country to get the right to vote.
The governor promising there's a price to pay for their rogue behavior.
As soon as they come back in the state of Texas, they will be arrested. They will be cabined inside the Texas Capitol until they get their job done.
Democrats say federal legislation is needed to protect the vote, but they don't have enough support in the U.S. Senate to pass it. The For the People Act aims to make Election Day into a national holiday. It would also mandate that states allow 15 days of early voting, require them to send absentee ballots to all eligible voters, and ban partisan gerrymandering. But Republicans argue the measure goes too far because it federalizes elections, and the Constitution gives that right to states.
In my view, SR 1 is the biggest power grab in the history of the country. It mandates ballot harvesting, no voter ID. It does away with the states being able to redistrict when you have population shifts.
CBN News chief political analyst David Brody says it reflects the division between Democrats and Republicans.
They believe that, in essence, the states should control it, not the federal government. And that's the bottom line. That's why it's a power grab. And it's interesting to hear the Democrats and the media call it voter suppression. The Republicans call it election integrity. And that's the big battle, the messaging battle as well.
Even some moderate Democrats have reservations about the For the People Act in its present form. The only way for it to pass is to get rid of the filibuster, something the president does not endorse. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Senate Democrats have reached a budget agreement that plans to spend an enormous $3.5 trillion over the decade ahead. It paves the way in their push to spend taxpayer dollars on programs pushed for by President Biden on climate change, health care, and family services.
Every major program that President Biden has asked us for is funded in a robust way. And in addition, we are making some additions to that.
Democrats who led the agreement, though, face possible objections from both moderates and progressives in their own party. And Schumer admitted, "We know we have a long way to go." Senator Mark Warner said the bill would be paid for, but did not say how. Democrats will have to pass the plan with no Republican support. The Summit on International Religious Freedom is putting a spotlight on the persecution of religious minorities across the globe. This year's meeting of faith leaders in Washington is focused on guaranteeing people from all faiths the right to freely worship. CBN's George Thomas brings us this story.
From Afghanistan to Zanzibar, millions of people are routinely harassed, beaten, arrested, tortured, or killed for their faith.
We're really headed, I think, for this showdown, a clash of civilizations, if you will, if we don't start guaranteeing people's right to religious freedom.
Today through Thursday, a diverse group of leaders from different faiths and more than a dozen organizations are meeting in Washington, D.C. for a summit to highlight the cause of religious freedom around the globe.
I'm Sam Brownback, one of the co-chairs for this event.
Brownback, who served as the State Department's ambassador for religious freedom in the Trump administration, says nearly 80% of the world's population lives in countries where they are routinely persecuted for their faith. China at the top of the list, targeting every faith group, with Christians and Muslims bearing the brunt of the communist regime's wrath. This report in April claiming the Chinese government was holding Christians in secret brainwashing camps and forcing them to renounce their faith. Using high-tech surveillance and other monitoring systems, China is also reportedly holding some 3 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps.
And they've got a camera everywhere, social credit system, and if they get their money digitized, where there's no physical currency anymore, they will be able to track every transaction that's made with Chinese currency and just shut you off if they decide they don't like who you are or what your faith is.
And it's not just China. In its annual report, the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom says 50,000 Christians are being held in North Korean prison camps. Some 3,000 Yazidi girls and women are missing in Iraq. And 130,000 Muslims are languishing in internment camps in Burma. The International Religious Freedom Summit will bring survivors of severe persecution together with lawmakers and advocates. Their goal is to gain political support for religious freedom and grow the grassroots movement.
Our mantra is religious freedom for everybody, everywhere, all the time.
George Thomas, CBN News.
The home of the late Billy Graham is for sale to help with medical treatments for his granddaughter. Graham and his wife Ruth bought the home in Montreat, North Carolina in the 1940s. The home has 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. It's been used as a vacation rental in recent years to allow guests to experience the Graham's young family through original furnishings, books, photos, and mementos. That is according to a news release. Ruth Graham, Billy Graham's own daughter, she owns the home and said the decision to sell was very hard. The house is listed for $599,000. She said the sale of the house is being used to pay medical expenses associated with her daughter's illness, a rare disease that results in cystic lung destruction. Promise Keepers is back and hoping to reach tens of thousands of men at their upcoming conference in Texas this weekend. Their 2021 men's conference is this Friday and Saturday at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. The 2-day event will feature well-known speakers and worship artists. And according to Chairman Ken Harrison, it will be a nod back to the 1990s when Promise Keepers first began.
This event will look just like the 90s did. It'll be a Friday night, a Saturday morning up until about 2. It's concentrating on worship and praise, but also really convicting messages. When it's just men, they don't have the macho face on. They don't have the thing where they need to look good for the ladies in the room or whatever. And guys are much more authentic and vulnerable and willing to cry and repent of their sins when they don't feel like they need to protect somebody else. So it really has an effect. And Also, we're going to talk about stuff you just can't talk about in the church. We're going to take on the problems with the addiction to pornography in this country. We're going to talk about sexual perversion and addiction. We're not going to condemn anybody. We want to bring people to repentance.
It is not too late to attend the conference in person. You can contact Promise Keepers at promisekeepers.org for more information, and even the possibility of free tickets if you're not able to purchase them. And for those unable to attend in person, this event will be simulcast around the globe. Simply go to promisekeepers.org for more information. Coming up, an amazing archaeological discovery in Israel from the time of the Old Testament judges. We're going to bring you that story from the Holy Land when we come back.
Before you marry is a bad idea.
Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire. Monday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Thursday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel. Your news channel, your shows, the stories you care about. Anytime you want, anywhere you want. Download the CBN News app today.
After some 7 years at one site, Israeli archaeologists have uncovered an amazing discovery with a connection to the time of the biblical judges. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl shows us why a 3,000-year-old inscription is getting so much attention.
This is Khirbet El Rai in southern Israel, where archaeologists say they found a piece of pottery with a rare inscription.
This is the 7th year for this excavation site. This year, archaeologists are talking about finds from the biblical book of Judges.
The most exciting discovery is an inscription which is from around 1100 BC, the time of the Judges. We know very little about this period from archaeological point of view, and we don't have any meaningful inscription from this period.
Then, they discovered part of a jar handle in a storage pit in the ground. The name Yerubbaal, Jerubbaal in English, was written on it in ink.
And this is the first time that we have an inscription from the time of the Judges with a meaning. And in this case, even the same name appears in both on the inscription and in the biblical tradition.
Excavation director Professor Yosef Garfinkel says they've found about 100,000 pot shards at the site.
But why this is so important? Because it was inked, and we have here 5 letters. We have Yud and Resh and Bet and Ayin and Lamed. And when you read it, you get the name Yerubbaal.
Gideon's father Joash calls his son Jerubbaal in the book of Judges because he tore down the altar of Baal and then defeated the Midianites. Archaeologists say the owner likely wrote his name on the small jar. They don't have proof that the inscription refers to Gideon of the Bible, but Garfinkel says it's significant because it highlights the historical connection to the Bible.
So it's indications that there were historical memories embedded in the biblical text and passed from generation to generation.
Several years ago, Garfinkel told CBN News he believes pottery dating back to King David and other findings point to Khirbet el-Rai as the Philistine town of Ziklag, where David escaped King Saul. This year, about 25 local university students had to replace 100 volunteers kept away due to COVID-19 restrictions. Most are studying archaeology and are happy to be here.
It's fun when you go into to the field and then you see, oh, I do know, you know what I mean? You pick up something and you're like, I know what this is. I studied it in class and I know what it is.
And they see the biblical connection.
Dr. Yossi Garfinkel is doing a great job in actually proving the Bible is actually a historical story and not just mythology.
This was meant to be the last season for excavating at the site, but Garfinkel says if they find more artifacts, they may keep digging. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Khirbet el-Rai, Israel.
Still ahead, a look at our intimate conversation with one of the most famous Christian artists in America, Amy Grant. She shares how her career went far beyond what she ever dreamed. We'll have that interview right after this.
Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Wednesday at 3 on the CBN News Channel.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
Crossover Christian music star Amy Grant adds a new honor to her resume this week. She's among the class of 2021's newly named artists to the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. There will be a formal ceremony this fall, and this honor comes as Grant marks the 30th anniversary of her groundbreaking album, Heart in Motion. We traveled to Music City for an extended conversation with the 6-time Grammy Award-winning musician. Can you believe that it's been 30 years since Heart in Motion?
Yeah, that's lifetimes ago. Here's the greatest thing to me. When I was writing the songs for that record, I was pregnant with my daughter Millie, my first baby girl. And then, you know, the album came out and she was tiny. By the time I got to perform Baby Baby, which was written about her on the Grammys, you know, she walked out to me, and those are memories that I will cherish forever. 4th of July, she announced to our family she's pregnant with her first baby. Oh, wow. I know, I was like, okay. Like, it took this, You know, I mean, we all have things that we like to reminisce about. And the biggest celebration has been the people I wrote the songs with, the producers. We have had so much fun, like, rewatching the highlight reel. But it's one of a million stories in the world. Everybody's got their stories. Everybody's got their highlight reels. But when my daughter said, I'm going to have a baby girl, I was like, where?
The baby is for the baby that's coming now.
Yes. Yeah.
Were you aware during the process that this was such a game-changing project for you?
No.
No.
What I was most aware of was just there was such great creative energy with the songwriters, the producers. It was the first time I'd ever worked with multiple producers. Up till then, my hand had been held through every project by Brown Bannister. I'd known him since I was in my early teens. And yeah, I just, you know, life was full of possibility at that point. You know, already everything that had happened to me in music was way far beyond what I had dreamed. It was, you know. And so we just were joyful and excited to be getting to, you know, to do something that was sort of beyond our wildest dreams. And then to have the additional engine of so many talented people, remixers, a record company in Texas and a record company in Los Angeles, and you know, nothing happens without a big team. Yeah. Nothing. You know, I was the wooden woman on the front, you know, bare-breasted to the wind. I'm like, okay. But it takes a team. Everything does.
It sort of helps solidify your move into mainstream and just gave you a much wider audience. Was that a conscious move to make that, to do, or were you just wanting to make music?
Well, we were just making music. I wanted to make not just faith-based music, you know. The first time I got on a stage when I was in high school with my guitar and writing songs, I sang all kinds of songs, you know. And yeah, and I just, you know, music can capture everything, a broken heart, trying to figure your way through the world. You know, you can sing an old hymn that you grew up singing next to your great-grandmother and go, oh, that's where I came from. Or, you know, it's just everything. And I think just my desire to write songs about everything. And especially at that time, it was really I think because I'd always dreamed of having a family, and the making of that record and the touring of that record was all, I had 2 young children on the road with me. Wow. My nanny, I would walk off a stage, just sung to 15,000 people, and she'd go, I saved this diaper for you. I was like, okay, yeah. So whatever prima donna thing was happening in other worlds was not happening in my world.
Even at that age, kids keep you in check.
Oh my gosh, but I so loved, I mean, I had dreamed of that. And I was getting to do music and that. And I just think it made me see the world through a really positive lens, a joyful, kind lens. And I look back at that record and I thought that really reflects that time in life, you know, and kind of invited everybody else not to be oblivious. I mean, there's some heavy songs on there.
Absolutely.
But just to, I don't know, it's like just let's be gentle with each other.
Let's be gentle with each other. Amy also talks about our open heart surgery in that interview, and you can see our full conversation at cbnnews.com. This evening, you can see an award-winning episode of Studio 5 as we dive into the issue of race in America through the lens of entertainment. Be sure to watch that tonight at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on the CBN News Channel or the CBN News Channel app. Coming up, the Ark Encounter in Kentucky, which features a replica of Noah's Ark, is getting set to add a new major biblical attraction. We're going to tell you about those when we come back. Stay with us.
Are you suffering from feeling tired or worn out during the day? Can you not turn off your brain at night? You are not alone. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Bruce, the sleep doctor, and I've partnered with the Christian Broadcasting Network, and we're going to bring you some unbelievable information that you can use tonight to get a better night's rest.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Protect Your Sleep today.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living Tuesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible App. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Hillsborough Falls man, come with...
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible App. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
The Ark Encounter, a biblical theme park in Williamston, Kentucky, will be opening some new exhibits over the next few years. Ken Ham, CEO and co-founder of Answers in Genesis, which operates the Ark Encounter and Creation Museum, told the Grant County News the park will be adding a replica of the Tower of Babel. They hope to have that open within 3 to 4 years. Next year, the park plans to add a scale model of how Jerusalem may have looked during the time of Christ. The Ark Encounter, which features a 510-foot-long replica of Noah's Ark, recently celebrated its 5th anniversary. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is foundation. Remember this: God is your firm foundation. When everything around you is falling, He still stands. And on that foundation, you can always rebuild what's fallen down. With Him, you can build back better. I encourage you to hold fast to that word today, and be sure to make this a wonderful Wednesday. And I encourage you to do that on purpose and in purpose. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. You can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. We've also got them for you online at cbnnews.com. We would love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at the address right there at the bottom of your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. We hope you'll join us again right here, same time tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you. Goodbye and God bless.